Yeah, so we've been talking, haven't we, last year that you'd like to do more video content for Dunedin. And one thing we thought about is maybe just trying to have a conversation between a couple of us once a month, and maybe things that might be interesting for other businesses.
It's all the stuff we're already talking about day to day, week to week, and it's just getting used to being on the camera and documenting that and showing the kind of the good work that we're doing. But at the end of the day, we're helping businesses with their technology, aren't we? So there's always stuff that we can share and glean from that.
And we're not actually expecting anyone to watch this, or especially not on its
No.
entirety, but we'll try and cut up key bits that might be interesting for people. So you're Adam, you're the marketing manager at Dunedin IT.
Yes, so I'm marketing manager at Dunedin IT. I like to think I've got quite a fun job here at Dunedin. It's kind of packaging up and talking about all our services that we do at Dunedin, whether it's on the website or creating videos. You might have seen some of our case study videos. Luckily, we've got quite a few interesting clients that we can talk about, like football teams and castles or nature reserves.
Adam, we're going to talk about some highlights from last year, and I believe one of the first highlights or topic we want to speak about was photo editing, video editing, alternatives to Adobe. Obviously,
Yes.
you use Adobe Photoshop, the suite, a lot, and we have a lot of customers that use that. But you're keeping an eye on two other products.
Yeah. So I've been using Adobe since I was, don't know, maybe I was like 14. So like back in the early 2000s, and still use it today. Still use it with Dunedin. But it is a pricey tool. But recently, last year, Affinity dropped a bit of a bombshell, and they offered like a free solution that really competes with Photoshop. So if you just wanted to do a little bit of editing of images now and then, this would be like a great tool to use.
There's probably fringe cases where people like myself, and now and again, I like to edit or cut a video up, or not necessarily cut a video up, actually just create a photo or do something very quick. Maybe I don't want to bother yourself. Maybe it's edit a PDF and just need to change some text or annotate something for a customer. To be honest, Adobe Photoshop would probably be the subscription would be wasted on me.
Yeah, I think what we're saying is we're not going to be telling any of our clients that are like in graphic design or in marketing, like, right, you guys, you should all change and go to Affinity. I think it's definitely for people like yourself who are using it every now and then, or somebody in the accounts department, like you said, they might want to change a PDF. But for your day-to-day person like myself, I think we'll probably stay with Adobe, but I'll be sure to keep checking it out.
Okay, so we'll try and include links and stuff to things on later on. And then another product you've been playing around with is something called DaVinci.
Yeah, DaVinci Resolve. It kind of came about again through, like I said, I've been using Adobe products for years, and I would normally use Premiere Pro, which most people have heard of, but it just wasn't developing very much over the years. And I was like, right, I want to try something out. I've been hearing about DaVinci Resolve. It's another video editing platform. You can get it for free again, so it's very similar to Affinity. Obviously, it's got a paid version, which you pay in full, and that's it. You have it forever. DaVinci is used by big movies, stuff on Netflix.
They used it in the latest Alien film and
Oh, really?
Planet of the Apes and stuff like that.
So I've been really enjoying using it, the free version. I've actually stopped using Premiere Pro that much lately. Still looks the same. So I was like, right, I need to change. I need to try something out. Move on to another topic. Tell us about one of your...
I went down to London to one of the trade shows, networking event from one of our vendors, and they had some good people talking about cybersecurity, and it was the way they spoke about cybersecurity was actually trying to change how you approach it. And I think someone presented something in one of these meetings, and I thought, actually, yeah, we have got it wrong. We need to kind of say to the customer or the business owner to understand what the hacker sees from their perspective. Without trying to get too technical, I think it's a way for them. We're always trying to say to businesses, we want to scare businesses. I think there needs to be an element of them being a little bit scared, but it's education so that the business owner or director or manager or whoever it is in charge of cybersecurity for the business can make an educated decision on how much money they should spend on cybersecurity that they're comfortable with. And I think that's just making sure that people have got the right concept or framework. I think framework's probably what we've done here, is giving the framework to understand how criminals could possibly get into your business and what are some of the tools that we can provide or packages to kind of de-risk.
Yeah, because it's a very complicated space, and it is just littered with many different services that are important, but it's the problem is you just talk about the solutions and not how, like, what is it actually doing? What's it protecting it from?
Yeah, so I think I've got a little diagram here just to, I'm a very pretty visual and I like to try and show things. So 3 stages how a criminal or hacker sees your business. They see the opportunity. There's an opportunity to get into a business. Are they making money? Are they in the news? Or do I believe they've got a weak setup or something? So they start with the opportunity. Once they get into a system, it's how hard it is for them to move around the system. So if I get your password, Adam, and I manage to get into your business, it's then what can I do with that password or that access? Once I'm in there, do I have to provide another password or another level of authentication? Does it make it hard for you to move around? So your staff might have access to customer files, but have they got access to the finance? For example, you might just have access to marketing and nothing else. There may be not much I can leverage with your account. But if you've also got access to finance, then that provides an opportunity for the hacker to do something. And with each of these 3 stages, there's different managed security products that we can put in to kind of reduce or make it harder for each of these stages. So, limit the opportunity to get into your systems. But if they do get into your systems, again, limit how much they can move around. And one that we've really focused on our top end package is about leverage. It's about actually having a completely separate system that you could actually switch off your current setup or switch off parts of it and run from a kind of skeleton system. And that just completely reduces the leverage that the hacker would have on you.
Yeah, it's a good process to see how the story of the hacker, basically.
I'm not trying to. One thing we're not going to try and do in this kind of conversation is trying to push things, but it doesn't matter who your IT provider is. It's great. I think it's a great concept for any business owner to understand. We've got 3 packages, so we're just trying to educate customers to say this is what a hacker will do. And, there's people and behaviors we can guard against that. There's network devices we can guard against that. Detection, configuration, how prepared we are, recovery, containment, and then continuity. And even communication is a big thing as well, especially if you're in the public sector or a well-known business. It may be the communication around if you were attacked, how you handle that. And so each of our packages, they cover more, or they come with more managed services or solutions to try and guard against these different levels. And it's, as I said, we just want businesses to understand where they're comfortable with. So if you're a very small business, you probably don't really need to really consider about public relations. But if you're a mainstream business that's on TV and the media, then you maybe need to think about, if we were attacked, what is our continuity plan and how we're going to communicate that from a PR point of view.
Yeah, it's a real full picture of what would happen, worst case scenario.
Yeah. So, Adam, you had another thing on your list I was just looking at here, and it was the trade shows networking from last year.
Yeah. So we did our first 2 trade shows this year, and the one we did was in Brighton, and that was at the Amex Stadium, led by a gentleman called Mike Monk. He's very nice. He's very supportive. It was a really good first show we did, really. It felt, like I said, it was very, very supportive. But yeah, it was a great way to meet local businesses in the area, because after doing so much digital content, videos and websites, other things like that, it was nice to be in person and to actually talk to people and ask them questions.
What would be the top 3 things to try and get out of a networking event then, do you think, a trade show?
Have something unique to come up with. So you came up with a very good idea. So we knew from the beginning we didn't want to just be like spewing out, oh, we do this, we do that, we do this, we do that. Obviously, people need to know who we are and what we do, but you get a quick sense by just saying, we're a technology partner for businesses. But we went in with a little special angle, didn't we?
Basically, if we gave you £1 million to spend on your business, what would you do with it from a technology perspective? And it was just a way to engage the questions. I think what we should do is include the link to, I can't remember the person's. Oh yeah, that's right. We gave you the check. So actually it was an idea from a quite very in-your-face American salesperson. Make sure you've got a sword and shield or something like that, so you can ask people questions and stuff like that. I think we'll include that link, and I think that was definitely useful, rather than saying to people, "You're having a good show, yes. What are you here for? Boring, boring, boring." And we instead of doing any of that, we just went straight in and said, "If I gave you this check for £1 million to spend on your business," and it was creating a question. So that was good takeaway. And I think the other thing you mentioned was networking. Certainly, we went to another show in the northeast, just outside Newcastle. It was busy-ish, but it was a lot of people, a lot of other businesses there. I think there was 10 other IT companies or some technology-based companies. And I think it wasn't getting too upset about, oh, there's no customers there. But as you said, try and make the most of networking with people. And you've made that time and energy to do it. I mean, certainly I felt, you and the other engineer, Stuart, I felt really comfortable now from the managing director's perspective that you guys could just do those shows without me being involved all the time. So that was something I tried to take away from it.
Yeah. I guess what we're saying is that there's an upfront cost for your pretty stand, and then there's an upfront cost of time to create all that material. But once that's in place, both those two things are done, you can just take them to new shows every year. You could just do one a year, depending on how big your budget is on that. Yeah. Cool. All right. Shall we finish things off with one more highlight, Jamie?
We re-signed for our sponsorship of Hibernian Football Club. We've been on the back of shirt for 3 years last year, and we did that in partnership with Acronos. And the relationship between us and the football club's just grown. And so we re-signed for another 3 years. But what that allowed us now to do is talk beyond just backup and cybersecurity. We can talk about the length and breadth of what we do, end-to-end services.
Quite an exciting challenge in a way to kind of like, how can we can talk about all our services.
We picked 4 areas, and we basically said we're trying to distill everything we do into kind of 4 sections. So again, it was honing back from our experience of doing the LED boards. We've only got so much time to explain what we do. And at the same time, we wanted to make sure we're engaging the fans and the club. So we picked 4 pillars. And actually we said, could we change the colours based on what the Hibs football kits were, like the away, the home, and maybe a previous kit? It went from just the LED boards explaining what we do to where we've gone now, isn't it?
So we've got 60 seconds to explain a whole company's services in a very narrow strip in 30 seconds. So that really focused us in how could we talk about all these services? We can't just list them all out. So great. All right. So does that wrap us up for our first episode?
Yes. I don't want to call it a podcast, or I don't know what we're going to call it. It seems a bit strong. And hopefully we'll have another member of staff on this. And I think the idea will be to try and get some suppliers and stuff. But again, we just want to make it not salesy or anything like that. Free advice. Any decent managed service provider will be giving you that advice. There's a lot of them out there that are very good. Yeah, I think we'll wrap it up on that one.
Yeah, I think that's great. So yeah,
okay.
If you listen this far, thanks very much.